course, Manchester United and Chelsea wasn't a great weekend for either of them in two different competitions. We'll start with United, who crashed out of the FA Cup at the hands of Wolves. It prompted these comments from manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It was a big step backwards. That's the poorest performance since I've come here. A lack of urgency, forward passing and regains. I told the players the truth. We know we played well against Arsenal last week and didn't get what we deserved. We got what we deserved today. Is it simply a case that Manchester United have been sailing so close to the sun that eventually the wings had to melt?
Well, undoubtedly, they were going to hit a patch in which results didn't go their way. And it seems that we're in that patch right now. What I would say, if I'm making an argument for Solskjaer, is the fact that I see what his reaction was, his comments post-game, what he says in the press conference, the fact that he addressed it with the players and then came to the press conference and said, look, we did not deserve to win. What we got today is what we deserve, because that's what our performance out there showed. That's what our team demanded of ourselves today in this match. I think that's a tremendous departure of whatever we had going on with the previous manager, where you could have had a player that's hung out to dry to be sacrificed by the media and by the fans, because he just puts him out there and essentially says, well, it's this guy and that guy and this guy and this guy. He's essentially saying, you know what, we were not good enough today. Yeah. And that level of honesty tells me that there is a level of maturity to Solskjaer that is something that maybe makes a case for himself for the bigger picture. Now, I understand that there are other candidates out there that may be better qualified long term. But as of right now, this is the guy in the job, and I think so far he has done a tremendous job.
I know Rob was waiting patiently to get in, but he's done an amazing job, and I totally agree. Smile on his face, honest in his press conference. The players have responded to him, the fans, the club, everybody's in a great place. However, if this club does its due diligence properly, then it has to look at the fact he's never taken a club and taken it through a couple of transfer windows and restructured the team. Mauricio Pochettino. And whilst there'll be those out there who say, well, he hasn't won anything, he has restructured Tottenham Hotspur in such a case where they've been fighting for a league, which they haven't won. They're in the quarterfinals of the Champions League and they play hell of a good football. The only way I can see Solskjaer getting it is if they go unbeaten to the end of the season, particularly in the league, or the experienced candidates that are out there are either unwilling or unavailable and United can't get them.
But Stuart Robson with us. Robbo, the other scenario is perhaps they get knocked out of the Champions League by Barcelona. Perhaps they don't finish in the top four. Surely then those question marks become pretty strong.
Well, we're going to find out about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now, and Ali's absolutely right. He responded, and Craig's responded really well to the defeat by what he said to the press, what supposedly he said to the players. But I was doing the game, and I said with about 10 minutes, 15 minutes left, that performance reminded me of the performances under Jose Mourinho of 12, 13 weeks ago, where the likes of Pogba was making poor decisions and not recovering quickly. Martial didn't look interested in the game. Rashford was making some strange runs. Lingard didn't look as though he had the energy to break forward at times. They were caught on the counter-attack. It was the sort of things we saw from Jose Mourinho. Now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to get the best out of these players from now to the end of the season. And if he wins every game, or does near to doing that, he will get the job. But I don't think he's the right man for the job. He's done a magnificent job. He's made the players happier. He took over from a manager that really upset everybody. But I think if you're looking for the long term, they have to go with somebody like Pochettino.
Well, not a great weekend either for Chelsea. Their defeat to Everton left them very much on the outside looking in. The race for the top four, Chelsea rated as 2-1 now. You can get behind Manchester United, well behind Arsenal and Spurs in the race for the Champions League spots. Just a few notes and nuggets following that defeat against Everton. No losses in the first 12 Premier League games of the season, 7 in their last 18 now. It's 11 times Chelsea have been scoreless at half-time, more than anyone else in the top 6. Only Fulham have lost more away Premier League games in 2019 than Chelsea. And 4 of their last 5 away Premier League games outscored 15-2. Maurizio Sarri saying, I don't know. The players don't know what happened in the second half at Goodison Park. I cannot explain it. We played the first half in the season. We could have scored 4 or 5, and then suddenly we stopped playing. It's very strange. We didn't defend at the start of the second half. We changed the system, but it was the same. The problem was mental on the pitch. So the system and the tactics are not important. So it was all down to the players' mentality in the second half.
I think he's got the Europa League potentially to save his job. I mean, he's got the top 4 to save his job, but the league form wouldn't suggest that they're going to get in there. So, potentially with the draw that they've got in the Europa League, which is favourable, they could. Although I still see Napoli personally as the favourites, even though Napoli have got a harder tie to get through. The dynamics of this team are all wrong, I have to say, Well, there you go. Slavia Prague, I mean, look, I've not been disrespectful, but they shouldn't be going out to the Slavia Prague.
Is this now their best hope this season, the Europa League? I mean, should they be throwing all their eggs in this basket?
No. Got to go for both.
Yeah.
You got to go for both. You got to, you can't just all throw your eggs in the one basket and then you don't get it. But I go back to the team selection, right? The midfield, there's lots of problems in that Chelsea side at the moment, and it's not just the midfield, but the dynamics of the midfield have been poor since the early good start to the season, where it was a little bit false. Now, you remember back to the Arsenal game at home early in the season where they won, but really and truly, had Arsenal taken their chances and they were clear cut, Arsenal could have had 5 by half-time. And I just think the dynamics in that midfield, and we go over this all the time, I don't understand at this moment in time why Loftus-Cheek is not a regular starter, and I still don't understand why Jorginho's in the team and Kante's not playing in a deeper role, and either Kovacic or Barkley play. I think Loftus-Cheek offers far more dynamism and guile and strength and power from the middle of the park than either Kovacic or Barkley. But he continues, apart from the Europa League where he played well, to be on the bench in big domestic games. And I think that playing Jorginho in there in this league, in this side, is just not working.
Yeah. Well, we could have told you that the moment we started the season, but people fell in love with the passing and this and that and the other, and some of these stats that kind of, in some ways, cover a lot of the things that now we're seeing very clearly. And what we're seeing very clearly is that, of course, you want your best defensive midfielder, the best defensive midfielder in the world, N'Golo Kante, to play in his position. Well, what a novel concept that is. The other thing that I don't quite understand is, if you look at the way they have played in Europa League, where they have been impressive at times, there's been a lot of young players out there, including Callum Hudson-Odoi, who, for some odd reason, doesn't get a start either. Your point about Loftus-Cheek is a very valid one. The other thing that, to me, frankly, I also don't understand about what Mauricio Sarri is saying is that I don't understand what happened after halftime. If only there was a person that could affect and impact how a team comes out of halftime, that would be the manager, wouldn't it? I mean, it's actually a referendum on him that after halftime the team stopped playing. As much as he wants to deflect towards the players, and I think they obviously carry a big load on this, you can't just say, well, they came out of halftime and stopped playing. Hold on a second. You are the manager. You spoke to them in the locker room. It should be your responsibility to get the team going, to go get results that you need.
Which is what Marco Silva did in the Everton dressing room, because they were hopeless in the first half, and they come out and clearly they had a kick up the backside. Let me throw Alonso's name in there as well, because sometimes you can't legislate for people making poor decisions, and his decision-making and his performances have been dreadful. However, he's played his best for Chelsea in a wing-back role. Now, in a wing-back role, you generally don't have to defend as much as in the full-back role. So in the full-back role, he's having to make more defensive decisions, and he's not making very good ones.
Yeah. I thought that was your term, was it? The wing-back? Aren't you all over the wing-backs, Robbo?
Yeah, that's what Alonso was good at doing, playing as a wing-back. But there's 3 major problems with Chelsea defensively. David Luiz can't run when the ball's played down the side, and that space is left open because Alonso's playing higher up the field. He's not good in 1v1 situations, and they've got a holding midfield player that can't get around the pitch, so that's the biggest problem. And the thing that changed the game wasn't Chelsea not playing, it was the fact that Everton started to play. Everton did everything wrong in the first half by allowing Chelsea lots of time on the ball. Every team that seems to go and press Chelsea, make it difficult for them to play out from the back, have success. Everton didn't do that in the first half. They did it a bit more in the second half, and suddenly the game changed. Chelsea have got problems.
He doesn't want to admit that it's not happening for him with a certain group of players that he's brought in, particularly Jorginho. You can see they're favourites to win the Europa League. I wouldn't be rushing out to put any money on them.
They've looked like a different team on Thursday nights, haven't they?
Well, they've been playing
different sort of opponents.
dross, that's why. And whenever they play in and be half decent, with a brain in their head, they've got problems.
7-4, the Chelsea lift the Europa League.